first before aviation. It's not a question about choosing one industry to target, because ultimately we all contribute to greenhouse gases. We all contribute to the crisis that we have today with the planet. So ultimately, in terms of ensuring that our planet is safe and healthy, is each one's job, task. Whether you do it in your own way by using less tissue paper, using less paper so the trees are not cut, buying green cars or not flying. Obviously, if you're not doing it, the demand goes down. The demand goes down, the supply goes down. Life's about demand and supply, or supply demand.
We don't catch a lot of fish anymore, so I decided to join into another business, that's diesel business, to make quick cash for my college. Right now, because of the fuel scarcity, most of the filling stations have all shut down, just closed because there's nothing to sell. So people get from the black market. I buy diesel every Thursday. I sell them to one Mrs. Rebecca. She sells it to our customers. I don't really know. I don't want to know about them, but I know she sells them to our customers. It is fresh food, but has a larger profit than selling the fish.
Strange, watching these film fragments. It's like looking through binoculars, observing people on a far-off beach, running around in circles, fixated on the small area of sand under their feet as a tsunami races towards the shore.
A rickety girl.
Here's Alvin. He's just taken early retirement after 30 years on an oil industry salary and is planning to spend his later years outside enjoying nature.
Oh, certainly I'm an ecologist and an environmentalist. I really don't have a problem squaring that, working for an oil company that I feel has done a pretty good job in being environmentally friendly.
When I started working in the oil industry in about the mid-70s, it was a clear path for me as a scientist coming out of college. And I didn't know the detail of what goes on in the industry, the goods and the bad. But indeed, every industry has that, the goods and the bad. Would I do it again, knowing what I know now? Of course I would do it again. I mean, you need to work, you need to do something.
Airfield wind farm goes ahead, local people are going to sabotage it. It will be destroyed. It will not provide electricity into the grid. Okay? Direct action will prevent it. Okay? So that's the end of that, isn't it? There is a group of us who will make sure that it is completely destroyed.
The worst example I've had is an old lady came up to me in a public exhibition and gave me a cutting from a newspaper with a picture of a guy being shot.
Local anti-campaigns are one of the key factors stopping about 80% of the proposed wind energy projects in Britain. Had they all been built, 10% of our electricity would have been non-polluting.
And how the heck are we meant to persuade people like India and China that they should develop in a more sustainable way when we're not prepared to even accept, the old wind farm in the landscape? So how's it going?
All right, yes.
Not too much trouble?
Not really, no. Nobody's punched me up yet anyway.
Good.
Piers has come back to Ernie's farm with a plan to make the turbines less visible, trying to kick-start the planning process that the anti-campaign has now held up for 18 months.
Another 18 months of climate change, another 18 months where I've been able to do nothing about it. Yeah, I feel really, really off with it. I mean, it's, you know, you must be feeling the same as me. It's just, I mean, how long have we got?
Piers' compromise reduces the number of turbines from 15 down to 9.
This is still the equivalent electrical power for 11,000 homes. Yeah. So it's still, there's still a lot of power. Exactly the opposite is happening to the very thing that needs to happen. These things need to be speeded up, and actually they're getting slowed down. Plenty of politicians are talking about it, but when it comes down to it, it's just not happening. It's just not happening, folks.
Governments will only go as far as the population demands, and that means mass protest on an unprecedented scale. Direct action like this is essential if you're going to turn an issue round in a short period of time. We've found that many, many times in the past, from the suffragettes onwards. The very fact that the crisis is taking place within our generation, it's happening right now, means that we are tremendously powerful people. So this position of despair and I can't do anything and there's no point is completely illogical. It's exactly the opposite.
À un moment, ils ont pensé aussi doubler le tunnel. Donc à ce moment-là, les chamoniards se sont enfin réveillés. Donc il y a eu une association de dire non aux camions, donc il y a eu moins de transport inutile. Il y a toute une équipe qui se bat vraiment, mais on n'est pas assez nombreux. Et je ne sais pas si on aura autant de force pour faire reculer ce lobby routier. Les gouvernements, à l'Europe et tout ça, c'est des personnes intelligentes. Mais il faut aussi qu'elles fassent du travail et qu'elles ne pensent pas qu'à la réélection.
There's no shortage of gray matter in this species. We can do some amazing things. But I don't think we've been very smart about how we use our resources, how we quite literally burn up something as beautiful and useful as oil. Literally burn it up. That's it. It's gone. It's done.
I think most people were becoming disenchanted by this point. We'd stopped believing that this was the golden era of human civilization and started questioning our collective values.
All I can hope is incredible disasters like Katrina and the horrible wars and whatnot that are going on around the world will snap us out of it. I'd like to see us heading in the right direction for the good of mankind.
I still believe chasing dreams.
Oh, you got me. Jack and Rocks. Perfect. You know what I like.
I had my share. I drank my fill. And even though I'm satisfied, I'm hungry still.
Before this disaster, I had a lot of stuff. I was a classic consumer. 2 years later, I've learned a lot about happiness and the pursuit thereof.
So here's the life and every joy.
The happiness is not in the latest gadget, the latest to the electric toothbrush or something like that. All of that stuff is just not, it's just not the stuff of life. Not for me anymore.
Here's the light. Here's the love. Here's to you.
Come on, stupid computer.
Climate scientists can estimate how much of the remaining fossil fuels we can safely burn. This amount is called the global cap. Under this proposal, the world's governments would make a binding international agreement detailing how to distribute the global cap. The earlier the start date, the greater the chance of not triggering runaway climate change. The total global emissions for the first year, say 2012, will be set at their current level. Every year following they'd shrink until, by about 2065, they're almost zero. Initially, each country would be allocated an emissions quota according to how much they currently consume. But this would change over time. America would slash its emissions 90% from its current over-consuming position. Europe too would decrease massively, as would China. But India and Africa would increase until, by about 2025, each human being on the planet would have equal rights to the Earth's resources. Equity is the only option morally, and also practically, as developing countries won't sign up to anything less. The total emissions would then keep decreasing every year, until by 2065 we'll have weaned ourselves off fossil fuels and prevented the worst impacts of climate change. As to how each country divvies up its share to its citizens, there are various options on the table, the most promising of which is individual carbon rationing.
Mr. W.S. Morrison is here to explain.
If, in the course of the war, we are short for a time of this or that article of food, rationing will give everyone, rich and poor alike, an equal share of all that's going.
Under this scheme, everyone in the UK would be allocated an annual carbon allowance.
Stored electronically, rather like a supermarket loyalty card, points would be deducted every time we buy or use non-renewable energy. For example, using electricity to power appliances in the home.
Or travelling somewhere by plane.
Or even buying petrol for your car.
The best way you can help is by rationing yourselves. I'm sure that all of you will buy your fair share and no more.
Airports were expanding all over the world to cope with the exploding number of cheap flights we were all demanding. And Jay was doing everything he could to join the party.
Ultimately, the art is to, hug and then kick.
She thinks that PSF is payable. You're saying that PSF is not payable. What's wrong with you? Now. Yes or no? Did I ask you that question or did I not ask you that question? You're suspended. You're suspended. Both of you come to my office right now. Does it take more than 10 minutes to clean this? Keep paint with you.
Wouldn't it taste work?
Maintaining my brand means something to me, okay? If I see my step ladder like this, and if I find one dirt, you'll be fired. Okay? Now!
Mr. J. Wadier.
Yes.
I would like to give you your air operator's permit to start commercial operation. You have an airline now.
June the 11th, 2007, in a hotel room in Bedford, Piers is polishing his speech for tonight's showdown with the local planning committee.
This committee can approve this application. If you do, you will show courage and leadership.
He has just 6 minutes to